I studied 1,000 YouTube thumbnails across a bunch of different niches to see if there were patterns to going viral. And spoiler alert, I think there were. There are 7 principles that YouTubers are using over and over again, and I think it might be the reason why they keep going viral. And these principles tap into human psychology so they can be used in any niche. In fact, by using the exact same principles, I was able to get results like this. So in this video, I'm going to be breaking down the 7 principles and show you how people use them to go viral. Now, this first one is often overlooked because for most thumbnails, it's hiding in plain sight. But if you miss this one, you are going to have no chance competing with the thumbnails that are using it. First principle is the best YouTubers use simplicity in their thumbnails. Groundbreaking, I know. But they use it in a very specific way. So for a lot of YouTubers, they use what's called the rule of 3. Now, the reason they do this is because on the homepage, the average person looks at your thumbnail for less than a second, so you have that short amount of time to convince them to click on your video. So what they do is they simplify and limit themselves to the amount of items that they use on their thumbnail. So here's a couple examples of it. So first, we have Ryan Trahan, who's known for having good thumbnails, and he has his face, an object, and a little bit of text. And for the rest of these thumbnails, you'll see that over and over again. So if you don't know what to put in your thumbnail, choose a face, an object, and a little bit of text. So then we see Eric doing a very different thumbnail, but the same principles apply. You have his face, an object, and a little bit of text. And then going down here, you can see your thumbnails don't have to be super over the top. They can be simple, just a face, an object, and a little bit of text. And then one more from Film Booth, we have again a face, some objects, and a little bit of text. So this next one is one of the most effective ways to get more clicks because it actually taps into the viewer's psychology and almost forces them to click. Principle number 2 is you want to show the value of the video in the thumbnail. Basically, when you're making a video, you want to figure out who exactly you're making the video for. And then from them, you want to figure out what the core desire is. Like a question I use all the time is what's in it for them? Why are they actually clicking on your video? What value are they going to get from it? So I'll show you a couple examples to really nail this down. So first up, we have Charlie Morgan that made a video called How to Become a Millionaire When You're Broke. And then you can see you have kind of this exponential graph going from age 17 to age 25, which is probably the age of his demographic. And he shows, okay, here's your money, starts out real low and then goes real high, and shows, okay, for this, if you want this specific thing, you want to use the billionaire mindset, and he's showing all of that in one simple thumbnail. So obviously the core desire for these people is they want to go from broke to being a millionaire, and then this thumbnail shows, okay, this video has what you're looking for. Another example in the YouTube growth niche, they have everything I did to get 997,200 subs in 9 months. Copy me. And then again, it shows the progression of going from 24,000 to 200,000 to 997,000 in just 9 months. So if someone wants to grow on YouTube and they want to get more subscribers, then just at a glance, they know that this is the full strategy on how to do that. And one more similar example, $0 to $20,000 a month with a digital marketing agency in 1 year. So again, he has this really engaging title, and then he uses a lot of elements of that in the thumbnail. So you have in just 12 months, and you have visually going from 0 all the way to 20,000. So if someone's in that spot where they want to go from 0 to 20,000, then they're going to click on this video just because of the thumbnail. All right, so this next one is so good that it honestly seems a little bit unfair. In fact, we used it and got our most popular video, which is now sitting at 2.5 million views. And the great thing is this works if you have an established audience or if you are a small channel. One of the most effective ways to get more views on your videos is to use Power People. Okay, so here's a breakdown of how we used it. So for context, we were making a video about historical evidence for Jesus' resurrection. But instead of just making a video about that, we actually found a Joe Rogan clip where him and his guests were talking about that subject specifically. And then we took the video, framed it around that, and then made it more interesting. And you can see it was pretty effective because just from this video, it's got 2.5 million views, gained almost 10,000 subscribers, and almost $13,000 in revenue just from this one video. And you can see right here how we did it. Joe Rogan confronted by historical evidence for Jesus' resurrection, 2.5 million views. Obviously, we have Joe Rogan over here, have the resurrection, and there's some contrast, there's some drama. So the reason why these are so effective is because there's probably a whole lot of people that are interested in Joe Rogan. So we tapped into that market and then got them interested in our video. Now there's one channel on YouTube that does this a whole lot, and it's Sunny V2. In almost all of his videos, he uses celebrities and power people to get the viewers that are interested in them into his own video. So he has how James Corden destroyed his reputation, 12 million views. So obviously James Corden, very widely known, and then also adds a little bit of drama because he's talking about how he destroyed his reputation. Next, we have meanest and nicest celebrities. We have Ellen DeGeneres and we have Shaq. So he's pulling from a lot of different celebrities. So if you see these and if you just want to know the contrast of them, you're going to click on this video, and that's one of the reasons why it got 9 million views. And then there was another channel that used Mr. Beast in their thumbnail. Now on YouTube, a lot of people use Mr. Beast because he's one of the most recognizable faces on the platform. So since he's talking about Mr. Beast and the losers and where they are now, a lot of people are interested in that video. One of the biggest things that I've learned from growing our channel to over 5 million long form views is this next one. I learned that most big YouTubers are not starting from a blank slate when they're making a video. They're stealing like an artist. They find something that's proven to get views and then they make their own version of it. But I will warn you, there's varying levels of stealing like an artist and just copying people's titles and thumbnails. So let me show you some examples. So this first one is a little bit more blatant than I'm usually comfortable with because Eric makes this video and thumbnail, and then another YouTuber afterwards makes this one. Now, if you put these side by side, you'll notice that they are very similar. In fact, in some ways, they're actually identical because you can see the only thing that's really different is the pose that the guy's in, but the exact background that Eric used, building for building, and then the wall and everything is the exact same thing. So that's more just copying the thumbnail, which a lot of people aren't into. But if you want to steal like an artist, then there's another channel that took the same concept but used it in their own way. So here's an example in the gaming niche that again took the basic concept of it, but obviously changed it a lot. So they had a winning formula and then made it their own. And the reason so many people do this is because it's just effective. So Iman Ghazi had his most popular video, and this was the thumbnail for it. And then Cody Sanchez, which is in a similar niche, made her own version of it, where obviously she filled in her own details, but again, it's very similar to the original thumbnail. And then going down here, we have Dodford that made this thumbnail, which he was actually inspired by a lot of poster designs. But then we had a YouTuber which made his own version of it right here. So again, you can see those are pretty similar. And then last, a little bit more of a simple example. This one, Amplify Views, made this video, and then another YouTuber made a very similar layout with this thumbnail. So the whole idea of these is finding a concept that works and then making it your own. That's why every time I'm on YouTube and I see a thumbnail that's either really high performing or that I just really like, I add it to my swipe file playlist. So now I have over 500 different thumbnails, so when I'm creating a thumbnail, I never have to start from scratch. And also, if you'd like access to that playlist, just click the link in the description and you can have it. Now, what if you want all the benefits of stealing without the risk of going to jail or at least being ostracized by society? Well, if that's you, this next one's for you. If you want to get more clicks on your videos, you need to follow the thumbnail trends. And basically what this is, it's not stealing from one person, but throughout the YouTube history, you'll see different trends that a lot of people are using in their thumbnails. So let me show you an example. So one that's really popular right now is the tweet quote, which basically you take the text of your thumbnail and then you format it so it looks like a tweet. So you can see Alex Ramosi, he's been using a lot. Going over here, Dan Martell, also been using a lot. And then another YouTuber, you'll see this all over the place where people are taking their text and then formatting it like a tweet. So that is the first one. Now the second one is the color text highlight. And I'm always impressed by how many different niches this can work in. So first we have Diary of a CEO. Then going over here, we have a gaming channel that uses a very similar thumbnail structure. And then again, Colin Samir uses this format, but they changed the color to match their own branding. And last, I had to include this one because it was so iconic and so popular at the time, even though a lot of people aren't using it now. This was the orange jumpsuit trend. Everyone and their brother was using it. We had Ryan Trahan, we had Eric, we had Mr. Beast, and all the different channels that were copying them. All of them got an orange jumpsuit and made a thumbnail out of it. Number 6 is probably the single biggest way to get more views without putting a lot of extra work in. And this is one that I see almost every big YouTuber use, but I don't see enough small YouTubers using it. Doubling down on what works is one of the most underrated thumbnail techniques. And I think you'd be surprised how often YouTubers do this. So let me show you some examples because some of these are pretty crazy. All right, first we have FootCrunch, who made I Tested Banned Football Products, 22 million views. And then he made a very similar looking thumbnail where he tested 1-star football products and then got another 20 million views. Next, we have Ryan Trahan, who's been using this a whole lot. He had I Tried Every Seat on the Most Expensive Airline, which got 36 million views. And he saw that this thumbnail format was working very well. So he made I Tried Every Seat on the Most Expensive Train, got another 15 million views. Going over here, I tried every Airbnb category, 11 million views. So once he found a format that worked, he doubled down on it and got a lot more views from it. Now, this one kind of blew my mind. So this channel made what games are like for someone who doesn't play games. This is what the thumbnail looks like. Starts off pretty well at 15 million views. Then they make what Breath of the Wild is like for someone who doesn't play games. 5 million views. What Minecraft is like for someone who doesn't play games. Another 5 million views. What Elden Ring is like for someone who doesn't play games. 4 million views. And then finally, what online multiplayer is like for someone who doesn't play games. 2 million views. It almost seems too easy. And then this example probably blew me away the most. Riot Games has so many different videos that are all basically the exact same thumbnail, and they're still getting hundreds of thousands, if not millions of views. So if you find a thumbnail format that works, do it again. Okay, this next one was probably the most interesting one I found as I was studying all these thumbnails because it seemed like it went against everything I had learned previously. So if you're wanting to win in the new world of YouTube, you need to know this one. There are some thumbnails that break all the rules but are still effective. And that's because they value psychology over design. Now let me show you some examples of this. Okay, so first up we have Charlie Morgan, who made a video, How I Made $17.4 million online so you can just copy me. And this right here is not just a screenshot from his video. This is the actual thumbnail that's on YouTube. And this is breaking all the rules. Like, there's no simplicity, there's no power people, just a bunch of stuff. So the question is, why is this so effective? Well, I think the reason it is because he's still tapping into the viewer psychology and what they actually want from the video. So I think this illustrates, okay, this guy made $17.4 million online, and he's showing, if you zoom in here a little bit, he's showing you the detailed process on how he did that. So if someone wants to truly copy him, then this actually grabs their attention because he's like, okay, this guy's got an impressive result and he's going to give me a detailed breakdown on how he did it. So even though it doesn't look good, people are still interested. And another similar example, we have How I Made 20K in 2 days with YouTube. 12,000 views. Again, not a super good looking thumbnail, but he's showing the detailed process and all the different things that he did to get this result. So when people see that, they want to click on it because they want the result. And then last, we have Sam Sulek. Now, if you've watched Sam Sulek on YouTube, you know that he's notorious for 2 things: no editing and no thumbnails. So his thumbnails often look like this. And then the title of this one was Fall Cut Day 25-Arms and Grocery Trip 230.2 pounds. And that got 4.2 million views. And then you see something like this and you're like, well, I guess titles and thumbnails don't matter because Sam Sulek is getting millions of views without doing any of those things. But again, he's tapping into the viewer psychology because for a lot of his audience, what they want more than anything else is to look like Sam. So just by highlighting what he looks like and showing, okay, these are the things that I'm eating to look like this, people are interested in it and they want to click on it. Now, I will warn you that a lot of people try to make titles and thumbnails like Sam because they're like, well, that's a whole lot easier than doing all this other stuff. But the unfortunate thing is if you do it wrong, it can actually kill your channel. And that's why I made this video where I break down how these creators actually grew and why you probably don't want to copy them.